On another subject, border security is actually national security. This is not just a statement of legislative priorities or partisan politics. It's a fact of human history. The Senate has little more than 2 weeks to deliver supplemental legislation on the 4 urgent national security priorities, and each one of them deals directly with the questions of border and sovereignty. For over a decade, Putin has been trying to redraw the borders of Europe. He's invaded and occupied Georgia and Ukraine. He's attempted assassinations and influence operations on foreign soil. And he's exploited humanitarian crises to weaponize migrant flows to Europe, including most recently at the border of Finland. Meanwhile, the Hamas terrorists who rule Gaza violated sovereign borders on their way to slaughtering 1,200 Israelis and taking hundreds more hostages. These savages stated objective is to erase the borders of the state of Israel, quote, from the river to the sea. China, for its part, is also keenly focused on challenging borders. The PRC has used force in an attempt to gain the upper hand along its border with India. It's expanded its military footprint in the South China Sea and threatened to resolve long-standing territorial disputes with multiple neighbors by force. And China's historic investments in military modernization are aimed at threatening Taiwan's sovereignty and bringing the island to heel. Borders matter. Sovereignty matters. The United States is a global superpower with global interests, and we have an interest in preventing autocrats and terrorists from trampling the borders of Europe, the Middle East, and the Indo-Pacific. Because if we leave them unchecked, these aggressors will keep challenging borders and keep starting wars. Borders are intrinsically and universally about a nation's security. Controlling and defending them is the essential predicate of sovereignty. So it's not by accident that in addressing urgent national security priorities, Senate Republicans are working so hard on policy changes to restore security to America's own borders. Trying to clean up the Biden administration border crisis isn't some arbitrary interest. That is, unless you ask the Democratic leader. According to the senior senator from New York, the national security crisis his party has abetted at the southern border is extraneous to the national security supplemental before the Senate. The way our colleague sees it, securing our own borders as we help our allies and partners defend their sovereignty would be dangerous. Dangerous? Here's the real world. What's dangerous is denying the humanitarian and national security crisis festering at America's southern border on President Biden's watch. What's dangerous is accepting the record numbers of illegal aliens surging across our borders as the new normal. What's dangerous is defending our open borders and a broken asylum and parole system, even at the risk of urgent assistance to our partners in Ukraine, Israel, and Asia. The Biden administration's open borders will rank among its biggest national security failures, plain and simple. But if Senate Democrats refuse to take border security policy changes seriously, they'll also be wrapping America's weakness up as a Christmas gift to Russia, China, and Iran. Borders are an essential element of national security. They are not extraneous. We must secure and defend sovereign borders, beginning right here at home. If we fail to uphold this basic fundamental responsibility, America and our friends around the world will pay dearly.